Sussex took complete control of their LV County Championship match with Northamptonshire at the Brighton and HoveJobs.com county ground, where on day 2, Steve McGoffin bagged his third 5-wicket haul of the 4-day season to become the leading wicket taker in the top flight this year. Northamptonshire had let a good position slip on the first day, and that was largely down to Luke Wright, who resumed his innings on 111, made out of a first day total of 319 for 6. Wright and James Treadwell added 36 more runs to that in the opening half an hour of the second morning, bringing up the 350 in the process. On 31, Treadwell lost 2 of his stumps when he was bowled by Stephen Crook, the ball perhaps keeping a little low, something that the Sussex attack wouldn't have minded one little bit. That should have been quickly followed up with the wicket of Wright, but having got to 130, he was put down by James Middlebrook of Andrew Hall and benefited with his 20th 4 too. Hall had more success against McGoffin, who was another to be bowled to a delivery that didn't get up. McGoffin departed for 6 with a total on 368 for 8. At the end of the 110 bonus point scoring overs, the total had moved on to 375 for 8, and then Wright went to his 150 with a single off Middlebrook. Wright had by now used up 222 deliveries, from which he'd struck 22 fours and 1 6. He turned this game around after his team had slipped to 166 for 5 at one point on the first afternoon. Wright now decided to have a bit of a thrash. He went after Hall, striking him for 2 boundaries to take the total to 389 and his own tally to 158. Wright has become a man who likes to turn his hundreds into big ones, and this innings was no exception. Hall exacted his revenge by having the all-rounder caught in the deep off another intended big hit. David Willey, who got through 25 overs in the innings, completed the dismissal with a catch. Matthew Hobden, playing in his second championship match of the summer, helped the total into the 400s before he turned this ball from Ollie Stone to Matt Spreagle. Sussex were all out for 405. Northamptonshire then made a rather tragic start to their reply. To the third ball, Stephen Peters received something unplayable from McGoffin and was on his way in a hurry. Before he would have got his pads off, he was also joined back in the pavilion by James Kettleborough, who just 2 balls later edged a push to Treadwell. So McGoffin had started with a double wicket maiden, and his next over was a wicket maiden as Northants slumped to 0 for 3, as Spreagle was another to find McGoffin simply too good, the ball hitting the top of off. Middlebrook finally got the first run, but the visitors had to look at a board which read 1 for 3 during the lunch break, and things didn't improve dramatically on the restart as Rob Newton was LBW to a swinging delivery from Hobden, with the score now on 11 for 4. That became 20 for 5 when Kyle Kurtzer got an inside edge to McGoffin, who now had 43 championship wickets to go to the top of the First Division charts, overtaking both Jack Brooks and Lancashire's Tom Smith. Lewis Hatchett then joined in, producing a peach which just caught the outside edge of Ben Duckett's bat to leave Northamptonshire on 34 for 6. Watching all of this from the non-striker's end was a horrified Middlebrook, who himself had not made it into double figures as yet. He did manage that as he took a couple of boundaries off Hatchett. Batting was by no means an easy occupation on a pitch which was offering the new ball plenty of help. An ECB pitch liaison officer has been called upon to assess the state of the surface. And even into its 23rd over the ball was moving off the pitch. Such movement brought about the end of Middlebrook's innings on 28 as McGoffin grabbed his third fifer of the summer and his 8th in 2.5 seasons for Sussex. He was off with figures of 5 for 12 from 11 overs, and that let Stephen Crook sweep Treadwell for a 6 in his first knock since he scored a brilliant career best 131 at Lord's last week. Hall at the other end clipped a ball from Stefan Pilot to Luke Wells at mid-wicket to go for 16, the 8th wicket to fall, with the score now on 86. In their promotion season last year, Northamptonshire scored as many runs from their lower order as they did from the top, and the likes of Willey and Crook both impressed with a bat in their hands. Here they at least took the total into 3 figures by adding 26 runs for the 9th wicket, the second best partnership of the innings. But both men were out in the space of 3 overs. On 21, Willey was another to be undone by the pitch. although the first in this innings, as he was LBW to a grubber from Hobden. While Crook, who'd made 24, scuffed a shot off Ashar Zaidi and was caught by Wells at deep mid-on. In just 37 and a half overs, Northamptonshire had been dismissed for 116. That gave Sussex a first innings lead of 289, and in spite of only 5 sessions of this match being played thus far, Ed Joyce decided to enforce a follow-on with his bowlers still fresh. Thankfully for the visitors, Peters and Middlebrook got their heads down this time to give their side a much better start. Having said that, it could hardly have been any worse than being 0 for 3. This time they opened up with a stand of 35 in 16 overs. But Middlebrook was out for the second time in the day, having made 12 this time, helping a short delivery from Hobden into the hands of Hatchett at long leg. Peters then ran himself out if this day hadn't been bad enough for his team. It was a suicidal single, giving Wright bags of time to aim and fire from mid-off. Kettleborough was the third man to head off twice in the same day when he tried to leave a ball from Hobden only to hear the death rattle. He was gone for 8 after Peters had made 28. That was the equal best score of the day as far as Northamptonshire were concerned. They ended this one on 80 for 3 after Spreagle and night watchman Stone saw out the final 4 overs of what was another very disappointing day for the visitors, who will go into day 3 still trailing by 209 runs and with it all to do to prevent another innings defeat, their 6th of a forgettable season.